So I'm talking with Tanya about the homeless situation after visiting the tent cities today to hand out socks and care packages.
So I think that one of the hardest things about all this is that it's just going to come slowly. I mean, you don't just stop paying rent and go to the street right the next day. You get behind and then you're really in a hole before that you get there, and so it's going to come slowly and it's going to build, and people aren't going to be paying attention, and by the time they start paying attention, it's going to be already a huge crisis, if it isn't already. It's like when you're foreclosed on, you don't realize that you can't pay rent ever again or whatever for a while, and then it gets harder and harder and harder, and then you're just really behind and underwater, and it's really hard to recover from. I just think that people need to have a little bit more foresight. People with means and municipalities and things. I mean, they just need to see that it's coming. It's as obvious as anything. It's like a tsunami, and the tide is already pulled out, and we know what happens next, right? So let's do something before the wave hits.
Yeah, I was reading a lot about this, and all the rent bans and all that stuff is lifting, so people are now being evicted. They're being evicted, and they're talking about 28 million people becoming homeless. When we go out to these 10 cities, you see that, I mean, this is going to explode.
I mean, but it's even 28 million, that's crazy, but a million is crazy. 100,000, any is crazy. I mean, these are individuals. These are people that are, don't know where their next meal is coming from, and that are just barely able to live one day to the next. And, even one is too many. We should be able to house people. If you can house people, then they can get jobs, and then they can support themselves. But you can't do anything without a home. I mean, nothing. You can't do anything.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, it's really hard. I was homeless for a long time. When you're homeless, you don't have any place to bathe. You don't have any creature comforts. It's really hard to get out of that situation, and all the social service agencies are all overwhelmed, and now they're becoming more and more overwhelmed, and there's just no end in sight. There's got to be some call to Congress or someone to start trying to work on this now before it gets really bad.
I mean, maybe this COVID situation and this massive homelessness and everything else will be, lead to a new deal where people are guaranteed housing and guaranteed a minimum wage and guaranteed health care. I mean, all these things that would have made this situation with COVID and all of that so much easier to manage, so much easier to, if you had a social net. I think that this is something we've all realized, is that people are really living on the thin edge, and when things get hard, like a pandemic, that thin edge goes away and a whole lot of people really fall through the bottom, and I hope we learn that from this situation.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hard road. So I'm Jake Folger from Friends of the Homeless, and if you like this kind of content, I share about homelessness, stories about homelessness, and also going out and doing outreach with socks and care packages and things like that on a regular basis. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe to the channel and be sure to hit the notification bell so that you get a notification when I upload a new video. I try to upload weekly. Thank you so much for watching.